Picture this. You slip into bed tonight, the lights go out, and while your mind drifts into sleep, your body begins its most important work. Tiny muscle fibers that were stressed during the day start knitting themselves stronger. Inflammation from the wear and tear of living begins to fade. Energy reserves quietly refill. So tomorrow doesn't start with fatigue, but with strength. And here's the surprising part. It doesn't take a complicated supplement stack or a pricey device. It takes something far simpler, something most of us overlook: the right fruit at the right time. When paired with a small but powerful source of slow protein, this everyday food can transform your nighttime rest into a repair session for your body and your brain. Tonight, I want to take you behind the science, into the rhythms of sleep and recovery, and show you how one humble bedtime ritual can change the way you wake up tomorrow, more rested, more resilient, and ready to move through your day with real momentum. When we talk about recovery, most people think of what happens in the gym, how much weight they lifted, or how far they ran. But the truth is, muscles don't repair themselves while you're exercising. They repair at night, during sleep, when the body can devote its energy to rebuilding tissue and restoring balance. That's why what you consume before bed matters more than most of us realize. And here's where one particular fruit becomes incredibly interesting. It's not exotic, it's not rare, but it has a unique chemistry that directly supports both sleep quality and recovery. I'm talking about tart cherries. Now, why tart cherries? They aren't the sweet cherries you grab in summer for a quick snack. These are more sour, often found as juice or frozen. What makes them remarkable is their naturally occurring melatonin, the same hormone your brain produces at night to signal that it's time to sleep. Most foods contain little to no melatonin, but tart cherries actually carry measurable amounts. Research has shown that when older adults with sleep issues drank tart cherry juice, they experienced modest improvements in total sleep time and efficiency. This wasn't a knockout effect like a sleeping pill, but rather a gentle nudge, helping them fall asleep a little easier and stay asleep a little longer. And if you think about the physiology, even a small improvement in sleep can translate into better recovery. But tart cherries offer more than melatonin. They're loaded with compounds called anthocyanins, pigments that give them that deep red color. These are powerful polyphenols that help regulate inflammation and oxidative stress. After intense exercise, your muscles have tiny microtears. That damage is necessary for growth, but too much inflammation slows repair and increases soreness. Anthocyanins help the body manage that balance, so you wake up less stiff, more ready to move, and more prepared for the next day's training. In other words, tart cherries don't just help you fall asleep, they make the sleep you do get more restorative. What's fascinating is that tart cherries seem to work in two ways at once. They help the brain by nudging circadian rhythms with melatonin, and they help the muscles by delivering antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds. That's a rare combination. Most fruits can give you one or the other, either vitamins for tissue repair or carbohydrates to support glycogen replenishment, but very few actually influence sleep and recovery simultaneously. This makes tart cherries uniquely suited for the pre-bed window. Now, what if tart cherries aren't available? Maybe you can't find them locally, or the juice is too expensive. That's where kiwi fruit comes in. Several studies have shown that eating 2 kiwis about an hour before bed can improve sleep onset and sleep quality. Kiwi has a different nutrient profile, rich in vitamin C, serotonin, and antioxidants, but it seems to act on similar pathways by helping regulate neurotransmitters and supporting melatonin production indirectly. It's not as well studied as tart cherry, but the results are promising enough to make kiwi a solid plan B. And in some cases, it might even offer an advantage for connective tissue repair, thanks to its high vitamin C content, which supports collagen synthesis. So, you have options: tart cherry as the first choice, kiwi as the backup. Both are natural, both are safe for most people, and both can be part of a simple nightly ritual. And what I love about this is the accessibility. You don't need to chase exotic powders or unproven supplements. You can reach into your fridge, grab something as familiar as fruit, and let your body do what it's designed to do, repair itself while you sleep. When we think about muscle growth, we often picture the training itself, the resistance, the effort, the sweat. But the actual rebuilding, the strengthening of fibers, the laying down of new proteins, doesn't happen in the gym, it happens later, during the hours when the body shifts gears from activity into recovery, and that shift takes place most powerfully while we sleep. Sleep is not simply turning off the lights, it's an active biological process, with stages that each serve a critical role in repair. When we talk about sleep architecture, we're referring to the cycles of light sleep, deep slow wave sleep, and REM sleep that occur through the night. Each of these phases contributes to the restoration of brain and body, but deep sleep in particular is when the surge of growth hormone is released, when tissue repair is prioritized, and when the immune system recalibrates. Now, why does this matter for muscles? During the day, exercise creates microscopic damage to muscle fibers. That damage signals the body to adapt, to come back stronger. But the machinery that actually rebuilds those fibers relies on protein synthesis pathways that are most active when we're in deep, consolidated sleep. Growth hormone pulses during slow wave sleep, stimulating the uptake of amino acids into muscle tissue. Cortisol, the stress hormone, declines at night, reducing catabolic activity that would otherwise break tissue down. Even the autonomic nervous system shifts toward a parasympathetic, or rest and digest state, allowing energy to be redirected away from stress responses and toward rebuilding. The challenge comes when sleep architecture is fragmented. If you're falling asleep late, waking up multiple times, or cutting your sleep short, you don't cycle effectively through those stages. It's like interrupting a construction crew halfway through their work. The frame goes up, but the walls never get finished. Over time, this incomplete recovery accumulates, muscles feel sore longer, training performance drops, and even your metabolic health takes a hit, because insulin sensitivity worsens after nights of poor sleep. This is where small targeted interventions, like consuming tart cherry or kiwi before bed, can have a ripple effect. If they help you fall asleep just a little faster, or stretch your sleep window by even 20 or 30 minutes, that can mean an extra full cycle of slow wave sleep. And one extra cycle is not trivial. Each cycle is about 90 minutes, and it brings with it another opportunity for growth hormone release, for muscle protein synthesis, and for neuronal recovery. The accumulation of those cycles, night after night, is what translates into visible changes in strength, endurance, and overall energy. Think about the last time you had a truly restful night of sleep and woke up with that clear sense of energy. That wasn't just mental clarity, it was your muscles, your nervous system, and your metabolic pathways all aligned, primed, and repaired. And when we consistently align our routines to protect that repair window, we don't just feel better, we actually adapt better to the very training we're putting in. So much effort to do. There. Quote, an important distinction to make when we talk about repairing muscle while you sleep. Yes, certain fruits like tart cherries or kiwis can help with sleep quality. And yes, their antioxidants can reduce some of the inflammation that naturally comes with training. But fruit alone doesn't give your body the building blocks it needs to actually construct new muscle tissue. Think of it this way, you can have the best construction site with all the right conditions, the right lighting, the right environment, but if you don't deliver the bricks and mortar, the crew can't build anything. In the human body, those bricks are amino acids, and the source of those amino acids is protein. The fascinating thing about sleep is that the body doesn't just shut down, digestion continues, albeit at a slower pace. That means if you provide a protein source before bed, those amino acids are gradually released into the bloodstream while you're sleeping, ready to be used by muscle cells during the very window when repair is most active. Research has shown this effect quite clearly. When people consume protein before bed, especially slow digesting proteins, their rate of overnight muscle protein synthesis increases. The type of protein matters here. Whey protein, for instance, is excellent earlier in the day because it's absorbed quickly, but at night you want something that digests slowly, releasing amino acids steadily for hours. That's where casein comes in. Casein is the dominant protein in dairy products like milk, cottage cheese, and Greek yogurt. It clots in the stomach, which slows its digestion and provides a slow trickle of amino acids throughout the night. Several controlled trials have found that pre-sleep casein intake leads to better muscle repair, less soreness, and in some cases even measurable improvements in strength and muscle size over time. The logic is simple. If you keep amino acids available while the body's repair machinery is switched on, you're more likely to build new tissue rather than break down existing muscle. Now let's connect this back to fruit. Imagine a bowl of Greek yogurt with tart cherries mixed in. You've now created a snack that does three things simultaneously. It provides melatonin and polyphenols to nudge you into deeper sleep. It supplies antioxidants to reduce muscle soreness, and it delivers casein protein to fuel the muscle building process throughout the night. That's synergy. It's a strategy where each component amplifies the effect of the other, creating a result greater than the sum of its parts. For people who avoid dairy, there are alternatives. Soy-based yogurts or plant-based protein blends can still provide amino acids, although they aren't as slow digesting as casein. In those cases, slightly higher protein amounts can help compensate. The principle remains: don't go to bed on fruit alone. Pair it with protein so your body has both the signal to sleep and the material to repair. When you look at it this way, the evening snack becomes more than just a routine. It becomes part of your recovery system, ensuring that the hours you spend sleeping are also hours you spend building. One of the biggest obstacles people face when trying to build strength or maintain an active lifestyle is soreness, that lingering stiffness that makes you hesitate before your next workout, or even discourages you from moving at all. Now, soreness is not inherently bad. It's a signal that your muscles have been challenged and that adaptation is underway. But excessive soreness can be a barrier, and that's where nutrition, specifically polyphenols, can play a helpful role. Polyphenols are compounds found in deeply colored fruits, and among the most powerful of these are anthocyanins, the pigments that give tart cherries their rich, dark red hue. When you exercise, especially with resistance training or endurance activities, microscopic damage occurs in the muscle fibers. That damage triggers inflammation, and with it, oxidative stress. A certain degree of this is necessary for adaptation. But when oxidative stress overwhelms the system, recovery slows, soreness lingers, and performance in subsequent workouts declines. Anthocyanins appear to modulate this process. They don't shut inflammation off completely, they help balance it. Studies have found that individuals consuming tart cherry juice or whole tart cherries before and after strenuous activity report less soreness and recover functional strength faster than those who don't. That means being able to train again sooner, with less discomfort. The mechanism comes down to the way anthocyanins influence inflammatory pathways and scavenge free radicals. Instead of allowing oxidative stress to spiral unchecked, they dampen the response, making recovery more efficient. Think of it like a thermostat. You don't want to turn the system off, you just want to prevent overheating. That's exactly how anthocyanins work. They keep the recovery fire burning at the right intensity. Now, tart cherries aren't the only fruit with this effect. Pomegranate has been studied in a similar way and shows comparable benefits. Pomegranate juice and extracts, rich in polyphenols like punicalagins and ellagic acid, have been linked to improved recovery after resistance and endurance exercise. In some studies, athletes who consumed pomegranate juice before and after exercise regained strength more quickly and reported lower levels of muscle soreness. Again, the underlying story is the same. These fruits, by virtue of their dense polyphenol content, are helping the body handle the stress of training more gracefully. This is a powerful message because it reframes how we think about food. Instead of only seeing fruit as a source of vitamins or natural sugar, we can begin to view it as a tool for recovery, almost like a natural performance enhancer that works not by overstimulating the system, but by supporting the body's own adaptive processes. And when you combine this with the benefits tart cherries bring to sleep, you see why they stand out as such a unique option before bed. They're not just nudging the brain into better circadian rhythm, they're also priming the muscles to feel less sore and more ready when you wake. That double action is what makes them so compelling for anyone serious about recovery. When we talk about repairing muscle overnight, it's easy to focus only on protein or the big headline nutrients. But the reality is that muscle recovery, sleep quality, and overall energy are orchestrated by a symphony of smaller supporting players. These are the micronutrients, minerals, and vitamins that may not dominate the spotlight but are absolutely essential for the process to run smoothly. Among them, magnesium, potassium, and vitamin C stand out, and when we add in the serotonin and melatonin pathways that certain fruits can influence, we start to see how the pieces fit together. Magnesium is one of the most fascinating minerals when it comes to sleep and recovery. It participates in hundreds of enzymatic reactions, many of which are tied to muscle relaxation and nervous system balance. Without enough magnesium, muscles are more prone to cramping, the nervous system tends to stay on high alert, and falling into restorative deep sleep becomes more difficult. Some small clinical studies in older adults have shown that magnesium supplementation can modestly improve sleep quality, and when you look at dietary patterns, populations with higher magnesium intake often report fewer sleep disturbances. Whole foods like nuts, seeds, leafy greens, and legumes are natural sources, but it's worth noting that many people fall short of daily magnesium needs. That deficiency, subtle as it may be, can limit both the depth of sleep and the efficiency of recovery. Potassium is another quiet but critical teammate. While most people associate it with bananas, it's present in many fruits and vegetables. Potassium helps maintain proper fluid balance inside and outside muscle cells and plays a key role in nerve conduction. After exercise, potassium helps restore the electrical gradients that allow muscles to contract smoothly again. If you've ever felt a twitch or cramp after training, an imbalance of potassium can be one of the reasons. Unlike magnesium, potassium doesn't directly improve sleep in a measurable way, but its role in keeping muscles relaxed and stable sets the stage for more comfortable rest. Vitamin C brings yet another dimension. It's abundant in kiwi fruit and citrus, and its role in collagen synthesis makes it vital for tendons, ligaments, and connective tissue, the very structures that transfer force when muscles contract. Beyond that, vitamin C is a potent antioxidant, helping neutralize some of the free radicals generated during exercise. The result is less cumulative damage to tissues and a stronger scaffold on which muscles can grow. Including vitamin C-rich foods before bed may not directly make you sleepier, but it provides raw material for recovery that plays out over the long term. And then there's the connection to serotonin and melatonin. Certain fruits like kiwi and tart cherry provide precursors or small amounts of these compounds. Serotonin helps regulate mood and relaxation, while melatonin directly signals the brain that it's time to sleep. Together they influence sleep onset and quality. So when you combine these micronutrient teammates, magnesium for relaxation, potassium for muscle stability, vitamin C for tissue support, and serotonin pathways for circadian rhythm, you get a powerful orchestration. It's not any single nutrient doing all the work, but the way they harmonize that makes recovery possible. When it comes to building stronger muscles and deeper sleep, the science can sound complex: antioxidants, hormones, amino acids, micronutrients. But what people really need at the end of the day is a simple, repeatable practice that they can put into action without stress or confusion. That's where a bedtime ritual becomes so important. Think of it as a gentle nudge to the body, signaling that repair and restoration are about to begin. And the truth is, when you align nutrition with your circadian rhythm, the body responds in remarkable ways. Let's start with serving size. For tart cherry juice, research has commonly used around 8 to 12 ounces about an hour before bed. That's enough to deliver melatonin, anthocyanins, and other bioactive compounds without overloading the system with sugar. If you prefer whole tart cherries, about a small handful, 10 to 15 cherries, is a practical option. For kiwi, studies that linked it to better sleep often use 2 medium kiwis consumed about an hour before bedtime. Both choices provide natural compounds that support muscle recovery and sleep, but they also keep the portion reasonable. Too much fruit, especially too close to lying down, can lead to digestive discomfort, which undermines the whole point of better rest. Now, pairing fruit with slow digesting protein can elevate the entire process. Something as simple as mixing tart cherry juice with a half cup of plain Greek yogurt, or having a kiwi alongside a scoop of cottage cheese, provides casein, the type of protein that breaks down gradually over several hours. That steady release of amino acids fuels muscle protein synthesis during the night, complementing the antioxidant and sleep-promoting properties of the fruit. The result is not just falling asleep easier, but giving your muscles the building blocks they need for repair while you're asleep. Timing matters just as much as the content of the ritual. About 30 to 60 minutes before bed is the sweet spot. This window allows digestion to begin but doesn't interfere with lying down. It also syncs with the body's natural melatonin rise in the evening. By aligning the intake of these nutrients with your circadian rhythm, you give your brain and muscles the cues they need to shift gears from activity to recovery. Safety is another piece of this puzzle. While tart cherry juice and kiwi are safe for most people, moderation is key. Those with diabetes or blood sugar concerns should be mindful of the natural sugars. Tart cherries can interact with certain medications like blood thinners, so it's wise to check with a healthcare provider if you're on prescription drugs. For the majority of people, though, these foods are not only safe but supportive of overall health, offering vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants that extend benefits far beyond muscle recovery. The bigger point here is consistency. Doing this once or twice may help, but the true impact comes when the body learns this is part of the nightly rhythm. Over time, it becomes a signal to the nervous system. Now it's time to wind down, repair, and prepare for tomorrow. That's the power of a ritual, simple, sustainable, and in harmony with how the body is designed to function. Every night hands you a blank page. You can fill it with worry, scrolling, and restless sleep, or with a quiet ritual that tells your body, build. A bowl of protein, a handful of deeply colored fruit, lights dim, breath steady. Over days and weeks, those pages add up, tendons more resilient, muscles more responsive, mornings less stiff. There's power in choosing something small and repeatable, not because it's flashy, but because it works. Tonight, let your kitchen and your biology team up. Sleep well, repair well, and wake up a little stronger than yesterday.